And welcome back to the special edition of Idaho Today. We are making delicious dinner, dessert, to feed your soul and warm your heart. Yes, for fall using local produce. We're highlighting the apple, which Angie the Pie Lady is currently cleaning up because Angie, you're making apple dumplings.
I sure am. It's one of the easiest desserts you can make, showcasing fresh fall apples. So
I love
why not?
it. Yes, yeah. Why not? So what do you do?
Well, it's puff pastry, brown sugar, cinnamon, butter, vanilla. It's so easy. I'm gonna have you dump, so it's a half a tablespoon of butter to a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, to a tablespoon of brown sugar per apple dumpling. So you can make as many as you need to. We'll have the recipe on the website.
And you want me to mush this together?
Yep, mush that all together. And I have just peeled and cored the apples. This one's giving me a little bit of a fit, but okay. And then I rolled out a piece of thawed puff pastry to about 16 inches square, about. Did a little egg wash on the perimeter, dusted it with some cinnamon. I'm gonna give you a little splash of vanilla in there too.
Okay, we're adding some vanilla to the brown sugar, the butter, and the cinnamon.
And then all we have to do is, once this is all mushed together, I think we could go with it from here.
Is that good?
Yeah, we'll make it work.
All right, I'm no Angie, but I tried my best.
I'm just gonna do in there with the fork for a sec.
Okay.
We're just gonna fill the center of each apple with this filling. So it's essentially giving it the goods for the baking.
We're doing a little more stuffing. We stuffed pork chops earlier.
Yeah.
And then now we're stuffing some apples.
Everything's getting stuffed.
It's the fall. That's what you do in the fall.
So you just fill those up.
Love it.
And I'll wrap a couple of these for you.
And Angie, while you're stuffing those apples, explain to us too the difference between the apples when you're making apple dumplings.
So I did a little bit of experimenting, and actually the boring old Granny Smith had the best texture, I feel like, when it was done. However, if you want to use a firmer apple, that's fine. I went ahead and tenderized it with a fork, like just poked it all over in there. I'll show you on this one. You just give it like a bunch of good stabs with your fork, and that will help it soften up in the oven.
Nice. Okay, so, yeah, because you found when you finished with the apple dumplings, the Granny Smith was the texture was better with inside the pastry versus the firmer apple.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, when you're starting with the whole apple, it definitely takes a little bit longer for it to cook. So you're just basically going to fold that and seal it as much as you can.
Okay.
And when we're done with all 4 of those, I just give it a little egg wash all the way around. You can be pretty liberal with this. It'll help the puff pastry be a little shinier when it's done baking.
And the presentation will be lovely and pretty.
And if you want to get crazy.
Oh, let's do.
I'll put a little cinnamon on the top. And you could also do some big granulated sugar or whatever if you want.
And you do that before it goes into the oven?
Yep.
Okay,
and then you just stick the pan in. It takes about 40 minutes at 400 degrees.
Nice. This is super simple.
Yeah.
I love this. And you know what I love about apple dumplings too is that it really allows the fruit to actually speak, right?
Yes.
You're not doing so much with it that you're losing the deliciousness and beauty, especially of some of the locally grown fruit that we have here.
And this is a really easy recipe. Like if you're having company, you could get all of these done beforehand and pop them in the oven like when people get there. So
that's a great idea.
It smells really good.
It does. The studio smells incredible right now. That's all everyone keeps talking about. They're like, it smells like fall in here. It smells so wonderful. Okay, and Angie, when it comes to wrapping the apples, because apples all kind of have little different sizes, right?
Yes.
You said in general, you measured it how for the apple? Explain that.
The puff pastry?
Yes.
I just rolled it out to about 16 square inches.
Okay, got it.
And then you can, if the apple is so big that you're using, like the orchard bread and some beautiful, like these are probably a little too big for the dumpling.
Yeah.
You can slice them and just kind of sprinkle some of the filling on top if that's easier to do. Use like a half of an apple if you're not sure.
Stretch your apple a little further.
Yeah,
that makes sense too. And because you also want to make sure that puff pastry is going to be able to encase it.
Yes.
Right, so you get your dumpling.
Yeah, and you can make huge ones, but the problem is with the puff pastry, it really only has a life of about 40 minutes in the oven before it burns. So you don't want to go much past that.
Okay, because too big of an apple may not cook well too, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So apples are not created equal. Again, Granny Smiths bake better. If you are going to use a harder one, Angie says to tenderize it, and also make sure that you have a decent size, not too big, when you're going to be baking this.
That is correct.
Okay, and Ange, I think this is going to be the perfect dessert to complement our dinner that we made earlier out in the outside kitchen with Nikki from Easy Peasy Kitchen. Yes, she made some stuffed pork chops. Now we got our apple dumplings. Angie's going to finish those up. We'll get those in the oven. And we have another treat, actually, because we have somebody here from Gem Orchards who's going to be talking more about this farm to fork celebration of Idaho apples. That'll be coming up here right after the break. I'm going to kind of watch Angie probably continue making these apple dumplings because, I mean, I know you care a lot about your product and I don't want to interfere, Angie.
Yeah, you can just stand back.
I'll stand back and watch. See. All right, everyone. We'll be right back with more here on Idaho Today.